Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with something a little bit different. Yes, finally today the F2 2021 cars have been added to F1 2021. Yes, I know there's only one weekend to go of the year and there's so many other things going on with the world of Formula 1. Of course, later on today I'll be back with our F1 fantasy review. Then of course tomorrow Jamie and I will be back with our podcast talking over the absolute shenanigans that was the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I'm sure we'll sort of touch upon it in today's video as well. But yeah, there is plenty of exciting things going on as well. I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you guys as well for the continued support. We are so close now to 25,000 subscribers. Our Clips channel has hit 1k out of nowhere. You guys are just absolutely insane, and yeah, I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support throughout the entirety of this year. But yeah, finally though, the F2 2021 cars have been added to the game. So obviously we'll have a quick look through and then we'll just jump into a short race with them here today. I am happy to confirm I am going to be doing a career mode as well, doing a full calendar season of the F2 career mode as well. So yeah, make sure you get yourself subscribed if you want to see that. But of course we've got the two primers of Robert Schwartzman and Oscar Piastri. Obviously really cool that you get to see all of the different liveries there. So I'll give you guys a little round trip around each and every one of them. Of course, the SMP logos all over Oscar Piastri's, Robert Schwartzman's car, even, of course, Russian-backed is young Robert. Here is Oscar Piastri's car, looking very much like he's going to be able to wrap up the title this weekend in the final races here in Abu Dhabi. Next up, of course, Guan Yu Zhou, UNI Virtuosi, with the Alpine branded car there, of course, off to Alfa Romeo for next season. I think, yeah, Jamie, very excited to see how he gets on in the world of Formula 1 there. Felipe Drogovic, next up, though, again in a fairly similar looking car. There you can see some Brazilian flags, though, on that one. And a few less sponsors, of course. Yeah, China more than willing to put some money behind Guan Yu Zhou as he looks to take the next step there. Dan Ticktum, of course, off to Formula E even, I should say, not IndyCar, at the end of the year there, as you can see with his Carlin. And then we've got the Red Bull liveried car of Jehan Daruvala. I must admit, watching F2 this year, I have found it very confusing trying to work out who actually races where because of all the Red Bull branding on it, different cars. Liam Lawson, you can see with his distinct Red Bull because of all the gold Rodin cars, obviously branded on his high-tech. And then, of course, Yuri Vips with it in the other car there as well. You can see pretty much, very much looking like a pretty standard Red Bull sort of backed car there with obviously the Uralkali sponsors, obviously Nikita Mazepin's father, obviously a big backer still of high-tech GP. The ARTs, of course, Christian Lundgaard, first of all, actually the man that we originally signed for our F1 2021 My Team Career Mode all those months ago. You can see his 2021 ART car there. Theo Porchaire, of course, we're wishing him a speedy recovery at the moment. Obviously, the last thing I personally heard was, of course, him and obviously Enzo Fittipaldi as well were both in a stable condition. Obviously, nothing too crazy, but of course, yeah, a nasty impact last weekend. So, of course, not 100% sure at the moment if they're going to be back for the final race of the year, but I wish Theo Porchaire and Enzo Fittipaldi, a good and hopefully quick recovery as well there. Next up, Richard Verschoor, of course, out of F2 in the final couple of rounds of the year, unfortunately. You can see his MP Motorsport car just there, of course, been replaced by Jack Doohan for the final couple of races. Larim Zendelli next up again. Both of the MP Motorsport cars, they're looking pretty similar with just a few different sponsors on those cars as well. Then, of course, yeah, we move on over to Enzo Fittipaldi there with his Giroux car. Like I said, a horrible accident at the start of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix there, of course, sponsored by, is that Czech Republic Playboy? I mean, fair play. Enzo Fittipaldi there. Guilherme Samaya next up then again in a car looking very similar. I think it's just Giroux sponsored by, I don't know, I'm very confused by that one there. Roy Nassani, though, up next in his dams, of course. Williams Racing backed with all his Israeli sponsors as well. I don't quite think he's going to cut it if he ever makes it to Formula 1, but yeah, no, still not a bad driver in F2 there. Marcus Armstrong up next has had a really disappointing campaign this season round, of course, but still a part of the Ferrari Driver Academy. And then we move over to David Beckman there again. Has had a pretty quiet campaign for the most part. I'm saying that because I can't really remember him being in a lot of the season there. There's David Beckman. Then, of course, Ralph Boschung, who had a really good weekend, actually, in Saudi Arabia. He's been pretty quiet all year, but he's confirmed to be driving next season as well there, and of course in the 21. So for me, I'm hoping he doesn't make it to Formula 1, just so I can keep hold of my number in the game there. Jack Aitken up next, of course, with his HWA car. Of course, I don't think has been back actually since his nasty crash at the Spa 24, but I might be wrong there. And then, of course, Alessio Deleda. I think the less said about him, the better at this stage of the campaign. Next up, though, is Bent Viscal, of course, the not quite Max Verstappen of Formula 2. But again, he is Dutch, so I'm sure, yeah, he's getting a lot of backing behind him and a lot of interest from them. Of course, took P2 in the second sprint race of the weekend in Saudi Arabia. And then finally, last but not least, is Marino Sato's Trident car as well. Yeah, a lot of F2 cars, obviously, here in F1 2021. But they're all looking really good. All modelled really well. That's a quick rundown. Let's dive into a race then. I've decided today we're going to head to Austria, mainly because it's just not on the F2 calendar this year, and it's given us some good races before. We are going to be taking... Who do we drive for this one? I think I had already sort of decided who I'm going to drive for this one. I wanted to go with... I actually had originally planned, yeah, to go with Theo Porchaire for this quick race today. So yeah, let's dive in then. Austrian Grand Prix, Theo Porchaire. Let's see what we can do. Right, so here we are then, one-shot qualifying day at the Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, like I said, racing as Theo Porchaire. Now, I have actually been doing some F2 racing in the 2020 cars in recent weeks. That's been over on the second channel, so if you want to go check that out, I would highly recommend doing so. We're having some good fun getting back into some league racing, so I'm intrigued to see whether there's going to be any differences between the 2020 and the 2021 car in the way they handle here on F1 2021, but fingers crossed, of course, we can just keep it clean and tidy on this sort of qualifying run. Not too sure where we should expect to finish on the grid there, as that was not the best run out of turn 1, and rather unsurprisingly, that's more surprising. Alessio Deleda up into the lead there. I think we'll hopefully see Oscar Piastri fly back past him at the top of the hill. But yeah, I must admit, immediately sort of initial impressions of these cars, yeah, obviously, I mean, they're identical to the 2020 cars. I guess the difference, of course, on F1 2020 was the fact that the 2019 cars have slightly different wheels. So, you know, these are effectively just a reskin. But, of course, we've got the new calendar as well, which I'm, yeah, really excited to jump into. Don't think it's really suited real-life F2 this year. But, yeah, I'm intrigued to give it a go, nonetheless. I always like doing sort of an official F2 series on the channel. You know, it's not something anyone else does. I've always found it quite good fun. And this time around, it might lead on to some bigger things as well, without leaving you guys too many spoilers. Really good run, actually, in towards the first corner of Sector 3. It's still David Beckman who's currently fastest as we go down the 2 gears in towards the penultimate corner. Final corner. Where are we going to finish up at the end of this run? Is it going to be pole position? It's going to be mighty close, but I think we've done it. Pole position in our first race in the F2 cars.
That was a fantastic drive.
And I think, genuinely, I just got an achievement there, because that's the first pole I've had on F1 2021 whatsoever there. So, yeah, rather happy with that.
Tomorrow, but before we go, let's quickly remind ourselves of our top 3, which are Porchaire, Beckman, and Alessio Deleda. Goodbye for now, then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Well, nice to hear Alex Jake's voice back in F1 as well there, but not too sure about some of these qualifiers there. David Beckman in second, Alessio Deleda P3. He's never been within 800ths of anyone in Formula 1. He's normally about 8 seconds behind at the end of a qualifying run. But, I mean, at least the field's tightly spread. But Guan Yu Zhou in 20th, yeah, I suppose that's fair. But maybe there needs to be a few sort of little BOPs on each of the driver performances as well there. But yeah, let's dive in then. We've got a 25% distance of a feature race here, so it is going to be a rather short one, about 10 laps, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, let's see what we can do then. Starting from pole for the first time on F1 2021, let's dive into the Austrian F2 race.
Here we are amidst the dense forest and rolling hills of Spielberg in Austria, just 2 hours out of Vienna. It's an amazing destination for the race today, and we're about to get started. Spielberg is a very short lap, one of the shortest we'll see in this Formula 2 championship. 7 rights and 3 lefts make up the 10 corners of the circuit. The left-hand kink of turn 2, leading into the uphill braking of turn 3, represents another overtake hotspot. As usual, I'm joined by our good friend Davide Valsecchi as we soak up the dramatic scenery. Do you think the drama will continue onto the track today, Davide?
Ciao Alex, I think we can guarantee that. Austria has always been a track that encourages the driver to overtake and attack. But it's a low grip surface. The drivers out there today will have to make sure that the tiny mistakes don't end up hurting them later in the race.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Theo Porchaire will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from him, with David Beckman alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Deleda, Vips, Oscar Piastri, and Verschoor, Fiscal, Lawson, Zendelli, Bent Fiscal, Schwartzman, Ticktum, Christian Lundgaard, and Dragovic, Armstrong, Sato, Aitkit, and Guilherme Samaya. Deruvela, Joe, Nissani, and Ralph Boschong completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Right, so here we are then on the grid for a 10-lap race here at the Austrian circuit. Really, really looking forward to jumping into this one today. Of course, no need for strategy or anything like that. We're just going to try and take the hard tyres through to the end of this race. But let's dive in then for, well, I say round 1 of the year. Of course, it's the only race of the year, but 5 red lights. And it is going to be a very long hold. But lights out and away we go. And not my finest start as we head down towards turn 1. There, Beckman and Yuri Vips. Oh, we're going to get tagged. Who was that? That just tagged me from behind there. Was it Alessio Deleda? Was it Yuri Vips? As Oscar Piastri gives me no room on the exit of the corner there as well. And that has been a horrible start to this race. We're immediately down to 4th. It might even be P5 there. As Richard Verschoor having a look to the inside. Oh, we got Liam Lawson as well going for a bit of a send. It's all carnage at the start of this Austrian GP feature race. But we do hold on then to P5 off the start. So we are going to try and make up some good progress early on in this race there. Richard Verschoor immediately going defensive though. There's Theo Porchaire back on the attack. Oh, big lock at the rears. Verschoor's going to give us the room right on the outside there, and then a big old squeeze as we head down the hill in towards the end of Sector 2, the inside of the next corner there. But again, Verschoor, you can really hold the momentum around the outside here, but not if I slam the door. There's now Liam Lawson again, ever the opportunist in F2. He's going to try and look up the insides of Richard Verschoor as well. But it looks like they're going to head side by side out of the corner. Verschoor inside line for the final 2 turns. So surely now he's going to be able to hold on to that. Oh, we run horribly wide through the penultimate corner there. Big kick of understeer as well through the final turn. But it is David Beckman who leads the way at the end of lap 1 there. Alessio Deleda P2, Oscar Piastri in P3, and already 2 seconds up the road. We're going to have to try and really put our head down and focus in this race. But yeah, I must admit though, I am a big fan of the way the F2 cars handle for the most part. They tend to be a little bit controller OP, just due to the nature of the traction on them. But they are, yeah, really good fun driving experience in my eyes on the F1 game as well. You can really sort of push them up to a certain point, but you overstep the mark in these things and they are going on you immediately. So it is, yeah, really difficult to try and find the absolute limit with these cars. You know, occasionally it's rare you get lucky where you get like a big snap and they actually come back round and, you know, point the right direction again. A lot of the time you can find yourself half spinning these things. So yeah, I think the key with these cars, to be honest, from what I've sort of experienced in the past, you know, for those of you guys that have sort of driven on other games and things like that, you've kind of got to drive them like a GT3 car, in my eyes. You know, you've got to be very careful. You know, they haven't got the downforce of a Formula 1 car. They don't really like to be chucked around anywhere near as much as well. So it's just about trying to be methodical and smooth with them, I think, is the really big thing as well. Of course, no ABS or traction control like a GT3, but sort of that whole, you know, you take it a bit more steadily, you focus on just hitting your marks, everything like that, and obviously you will find time in these cars there. As we went purple through the final sector, and the gap to the guys in front pretty much stayed even on lap 2 there, so I think we need to put our head down and focus. David Beckman sets a 1:16.1. We're going to dip into the 15th there and now starting to get our eye in.
Fastest lap of the race so far. We're leading our teammate by 3.9 seconds.
Kristen 3.9 seconds behind us. But yeah, we're starting to get our eye in, starting to remember what you can do, how much you can lean on these cars. I'm just hoping Piastri and Delay start battling, so maybe we can try and close back up to them. Yeah, we are really starting to get into a good groove now, down into the 15.6s. And the gap to Oscar Piastri down to 1.4 seconds. He's definitely within the DRS range of Alessio Delay in front of him. Is he going to be able to get a bit more of a run this time round? He seems to just drop back a bit out through turn 1 there, and I don't think Delader's getting the DRS off of David Beckman in the lead. It might actually be just about still, but yeah, Piastri sort of gets really close. Might he now be able to get a run on the exit here? He's practically all over the back of Delader, but just can't seem to get the traction after all the dirty air of the second and final sector. Final corner, though, we are going to now be inside the DRS zone of Oscar Piastri, but it's still going to be difficult to overtake. It was another fastest lap. Bit out of nowhere, that one. No idea how we set that, but running very wide over the sausage curb on the exit turn 1. But I think that's going to mean we don't really get a chance this time round. But we are definitely starting to apply the pressure now with just 4 laps to go on this little race here in Austria. Is Delader getting the DRS off of David Beckman in front of him? Is he not? I don't think he is. It looks mighty close, whether he's inside the zone or not. But yeah, we just need to keep our head down and see if we can try and close a bit more. We're definitely stronger than the AI through Sector 3. That's where we're gaining most of our time. So yeah, we just got to try and get right over the back of Piastri to be able to capitalise up the hill. Look at that run we're able to get off the exit of turn 8 here, all over the back of Oscar Piastri. So we head down in towards the final couple of turns there, and yeah, really through. I think the corners were a little bit braver than the Australian just in front of us there. We get a really nice run at the final corner. Are we going to be able to do anything down in towards turn 1 there? Another fastest lap of the day. Piastri goes defensive. We're just going to try and go for a bit of a cheeky cutback if we can. Really roll on the power nice and early, which we have done so. Wasn't quite the overspeed I'd wanted, but we should be able to gain and gain and gain as we head up the hill in towards turn 3 here. Oscar Piastri goes defensive to the outside of the Australian. There, a little bit of movement in the braking zone from him, but we get the car to the outside, get on the power nice and early, and round the outside of Oscar Piastri we go, which not many people have been able to say over the season. Oscar Piastri, of course, has been very good in battles in the real-life 2021 F2 campaign. But now, yeah, 2.5 laps to go. David Beckman 2 seconds up the road. Alessio Delay 7 tenths in front, though. If we can get a run on Delay next lap, there might still be a slim chance there. As look how much we're attacking and just absolutely chucking the car around at the moment. It's so fun, these F2 cars. I would highly recommend giving them a go. Alright, at the final corner then. 2 laps to go. Here from Austrian, we're getting a good run on Delader in towards turn 1 then. Not going to go for anything in towards that first corner, as again, he won't get the DRS. So surely he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck as we head up the hill through turn 2 and in towards the braking zone in turn 3 here. Is Delader going to go defensive? Yes, it looks like he is, to the outside again for the second time in 2 laps. Pretty even on the brakes there with Alessio, who gets a little bit over the inside curbing, and we're going to fly around the outside of the Italian there, and I'm at a P2 of the race. David Beckman just 1.5 seconds up the road. We've got a lap and a half to try and close in. If we get the DRS, it might just be doable, but we're going to have to really push. Final lap then of this race. We didn't quite get the DRS, but we have closed in on David Beckman's. Look at that. With the help of the slipstream, a 15.2 as we start the final lap then of this race. Big kick of oversteer through turn 1. We are going to get the DRS though. Definitely not going to be close enough as we head up the hill on David Beckman, but we are still closing in, still gaining time on our race leader here as we head up towards the top of the hill, all over the curbing, really trying to open up the track as best as possible there, and I honestly didn't think we'd get that slowed down in the way we did, but in towards the final few corners of this Grand Prix, we're going to get another nice DRS run in towards turn 4. Again, big lock up at the rears, but somehow we hold on to the car. That's not so easy to do in the F2s. If you lock the rears, they tend to like to spit round on you, but somehow, still pointing in the right direction. This is where we're really strong against the AI at the moment here as we head down through the final few corners of this race. Just clip the inside curve there. That's giving us a nice little run as we head in towards the final couple of corners here. And David Beckman is feeling the pressure. Just a little jink defensively there as we try and close in towards the final corner of this F2 race. Unless he makes a mistake, I don't think we're going to get the run though. But what a race it's been here in F2. David Beckman takes the win, but less than 2 tenths behind.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
A great win then for the Campos team today. And I have to wonder, Davide Valsecchi, just what set them apart from the competition here.
I think this race was won thanks to the tire management. You have to remember, it's not just about going as fast as you can, it's about consistency. It's about maintaining your speed over an entire race distance. So being able to keep the lap time competitive while still respecting the tires, that's where they won today.
I can see them on their way out to the podium now. Campos have come a really long way in this sport, and what a special race this was to see them earn the top spot. After all this drama, you would be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
And there we are then, guys, the end of the F2 race weekend here from Austria. Of course, not really have a normal F2 race weekend, but go there. But yeah, really, really good fun race to get us started with these cars there. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like and get yourself subscribed. But David Beckman takes home the win ahead of Theo Porchaire. Alessio De Leda there. Oscar Piastri 4th ahead of Vashaw, Lawson, Zendelli. Bent Viscal going from 10th to 8th in the end, ahead of Robert Schwartzman there from 11th to 9th. Enzo Fittipaldi dropped back slightly, and you can see the rest of your finishes there as well. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, like I said, do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, we'll be back very, very soon with more F1 2021 content. Of course, like I said, we will be doing an F2 series down the line. You guys do not want to miss that. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel supporters. So a massive thank you to The Travesty, Patrick, Chuan, David, Ben, Aidan, Estatios, Cato, Sean, Johnny, McBlam, Mighty Spork, Tazief, William, and Nanon for becoming channel members. If you want to be featured at the end of all these videos, make sure you just click the join button down below.